Hello, and welcome to the Lazy Dietitian series. I'm Karen Bryla McNees with the UK Health and Wellness Program, and I am your Lazy Dietitian. In working with clients over the years, it's become clear to me that many people struggle with how to prioritize nutrition amidst the demands and chaos of everyday life. So, my intention in designing this series is to persuade you that eating well can be simple, efficient, and tasty. I want to help you build the knowledge and confidence you need to create meals and snacks you can feel good about. So, you might be wondering, why are we talking about healthyish eating for the first part of this three-part series? For me, it is a valuable way to lay the groundwork for what will come in weeks 2 and 3, when we discuss more specific foods and meal and snack ideas. What I present in the coming weeks will make a lot more sense in the context of our discussion today. I also want to take this opportunity to say that the idea of healthyish eating is not for everyone, and that is okay. Some people may not need it, and others may just be on a different path with their nutrition. As we'll see, there is never a one-size-fits-all solution when it comes to eating well. My guess is that many of you feel a great deal of self-doubt and anxiety about how well you are eating. And it's understandable because we are constantly bombarded with conflicting messages about what to eat or not eat. When food is presented as something that is going to cure us or kill us, no wonder many of us feel like we are always failing when it comes to eating well. And maybe that is why you are here today. Maybe the concept of healthyish eating sounded like a more relaxed and forgiving way to approach eating, which it is. Healthyish eating is all about ditching the idea of good or bad and right or wrong when it comes to food. It honors the fact that we have to live in the real world, which for many of us means limited time and energy. And most importantly, healthyish eating allows for the flexibility and compromise that real life demands. It can be pretty instructive to Google the phrase healthy eating and see what images pop up. It sheds light, I think, on why we view healthy eating as an insurmountable challenge. We create unrealistic expectations for ourselves based on a warped sense of what we think healthy eating should look like. And this sets us up to fail, which then reinforces the belief that healthy eating is just not something we can achieve. Let's take a look at some of these images from Google. Well, if you want to eat healthy, you better get ready to put your apron on and spend lots of time chopping vegetables in the kitchen. Or how about you have to eat a salad and you have to look really happy while you're doing it? You always need to choose the apple over the donut. There is no fun for you. And finally, you got to eat your very plain veggies. I'd look like this kid too if someone gave me those veggies without some ranch dressing or some cheese to go with it. The irony of all the stress and worry we have around food is that this may have a more profound effect on our health than the actual food we consume. The negative relationship we have with food can become a kind of chronic underlying stress that can be just as detrimental to our health than anything we might possibly eat. We know that chronic stress can contribute to inflammation, increased blood pressure, increased blood sugar, and a higher risk of heart disease, among other things. So, just another reason to get ourselves away from the stress and worry we have around food. I love quotes. So, I thought I'd share a few quotes that represent my philosophy about nutrition and healthyish eating. Have no fear of perfection. You will never reach it. Newsflash, there is no such thing as a perfect diet or a perfect food. We have to reject this belief and accept that everyone has unique needs and preferences that will shape their diets in different ways. What eating well looks like varies from person to person, and you have to find what works for you. When things go wrong, don't go with them. As I've already alluded to, many of us have a very black and white perspective about food. Food is good or bad, food can cure or kill us. When we have this all or nothing mentality, It is tempting to abandon our efforts to eat well as soon as there is any kind of obstacle or setback. We stop trying because it feels too hard or we think we've already screwed up. But there is always something we can choose to do to make it better. Some control we always have. Even if it's not in our actions, maybe it's in our attitudes or our thoughts. Finally, progress isn't made by early risers. It's made by lazy men or women trying to find easier ways to do something. There's a couple reasons this quote resonates with me. For one, I am a night owl and definitely not an early riser. Two, there's absolutely no shame in trying to find easier ways to do something. As this quote suggests, that is a form of progress. And as I say in my lazy dietitian logo, it's not lazy, it's efficient. Why spend time and effort doing something one way when you can achieve a similar outcome doing it more efficiently? Again, I think we are reluctant to embrace this idea because we have been trained to believe that healthy eating takes an inordinate amount of time and energy. We think it doesn't count if we've done it the easy way. So how would I define healthyish eating? I guess I'd call it an intention to eat well most of the time, over time, without assigning a disproportionate amount of importance to any specific food or meal. It's an understanding that eating well is flexible and meant to be achieved over time. You don't stress over one food, one meal, or even one day of eating because you know things will balance themselves out in the long run. Most people believe that healthy eating is hard, like we've said, because they have a distorted view of what healthy eating looks like. Think back to those Google images. If you think healthy eating looks like eating plain veggies and baked chicken every night, then of course it feels unsustainable. We think healthy eating should be boring and that it's something we must suffer through. We constantly sacrifice nutrition for taste and deprive ourselves of foods we enjoy. And once we're sick of plain veggies and baked chicken, we just give up and then eat all the things. It can become a vicious cycle, feeling in control and then out of control. And it reinforces that belief that we cannot eat healthy. Here are some images that represent healthyish eating to me. How about some carrots or any raw veggie dipped in ranch? Maybe some apples with caramel, some nice whole grain popcorn with a little melted butter on top, Brussels sprouts with bacon, grilled cheese on whole wheat bread. Or again, not plain chicken, put a little bit of sauce or seasoning on it. It's okay. Here are some images. I've been hinting at them, but just to summarize, let's look at what I view to be the biggest benefits of healthyish eating. Healthyish eating prioritizes nutrition and enjoyment. It does not sacrifice one for the other. Both are to be pursued and valued. Healthyish eating simplifies meal planning. When you have an expanded view of what eating well can look like, you have a lot more options available to you. And finally, healthyish eating reduces stress and guilt around food. When eating is flexible, you are more likely to feel good about your choices, which makes eating well more sustainable over time. Thank you for joining me today. I'll stick around in the chat if anyone has questions or comments. Next week, I will talk about how to shop for healthier convenience foods, and I will unveil my lists of favorite Lazy Dietitian approved foods. I hope to see you then. Thanks.